Welcome. This is day two of five Element Dragon Fire Reiki level 4, the Fire Dragon. So we'll just do a quick check-in with everybody. How are you doing? How are you feeling in this last week? We had day 1. We did the activation. We did the attunement installation. And so hopefully this week you've had a chance to be practicing using the Fire Dragon symbol, which is the first time that has come through. So that was really pretty exciting. And who would like to dive in and just if you have any questions and just how you're doing? Let's be the brave one.
Hey everyone, I'll start, I guess. So, what's up? I'm Joe. I feel like since last week, I've actually had like a lot of new opportunities opening up and things like that. So that's pretty exciting. I've really just been busy with work though, for the most part, so I haven't been able to practice a whole lot. But the fact that a couple of those opportunities popped up that I wasn't expecting was kind of like, yay, things are happening. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yay. And that's okay. You'll practice when you have time to practice in the moment that you're meant to. And you'll create a beautiful flow around it. So I'm so excited all these beautiful things are popping up for you and all these opportunities. Beautiful.
Yeah, and my suggestion is just pair it with something else because it is really easy to get out of the practice and just not do it at all because we get so busy. And we all do it. Carrie and I do, like it's totally okay, but we always come back to it. So like pairing it with at night when you're going to sleep, just put your hands on your body for 5 minutes before you fall asleep. In the morning before you wake up, put your hands on your body for a couple minutes before you wake up. Like when you're in your car driving, you can use the steering wheel as like use it as your body. It actually works really well. Or I'll put, if I feel okay with holding just with one hand, I'll put my hand on my knee. So I can't encourage you all enough because it's one of those things where the brain goes, yeah, but there's not like a direct thing that happens, right? Like I don't do Reiki on myself and then like a client comes in, although sometimes that does happen, right? Like you literally like, I'm doing an energy pull or Reiki for clients and then a client comes in. But it's so amorphous, this energy. It's not like, oh, I put a post out with a link and then somebody went and they paid for it. They went to the link and paid for it. That the brain goes, oh, okay, there's a direct link, right, between those two things. When you're working with energy, it's harder for the brain to get on board. So like if you compare it with something and make it really easy breezy, it just it helps so much. Like I cannot even say, especially cumulatively. So that's all I'll say about that. Who else, if anyone, would like to pop in and share? I'm just reading the comments. Dee Dee says, good morning. Hope everyone is well. I'm having technical difficulties with my camera, but I'm here. Awesome. Hello, Dee Dee. Alex says, it's been nice connecting with the Fire Dragon. It's been helping me maintain my anxiety as I navigate a lot right now and helping me sleep. That's awesome. I love that. Lainey says, had some revelations. Things seem to be getting a bit more clear. And I got to walk on our town parade with my daughter and her art class carrying a big dragon they made. Ah, that's amazing. I just love that. One of the 5e teachers, she's a teacher now, she sent me a bunch of pictures of like person with dragons on their shirt. Then she got like this really cool face paint, of a dragon. Like they're everywhere. I love that. All right, would anyone like to share? Go ahead, Tamara. Thanks.
Hi guys. It's interesting. Dragons have been coming at me from all directions. Like, what the hell, Aaron? Right. So it's funny. So the book, The Sophia Code. So I'm like a book hoarder, and I order books when they call to me, but I read them when the universe tells me it's time to read them. So I started reading Sophia Code like 2 years ago and got super distracted, put it down halfway through. And then I picked it back up and I'm sitting there reading it going, wow, wow, like just gyrating. And it's so funny. So I love to play with Oracle cards. I'm not super serious with it. So I got the dragon deck and it was so funny. So I just did a drawing this morning. I did a 7-card drawing and it's like, it's just funny. It's just funny. If you know me, it's even really funnier. Right. So, the last class, it was really interesting. I was off camera for a bit after our installation, after our attunement. I had some massive restructuring happening, or there's some internal grid work going on. So it was really neat. It was very powerful. I think I was in a coma for 40 minutes. I don't know. It was really, really nice. It was a neat feeling, but I could also feel these different pathways being formed, right? So like just a grid, an overlay, and I could feel the fire and all that. Um, and then it was interesting. So when I came back into the class and I turned my video on and we were talking about the symbol, I actually do a lot of grid work, but I do visual, like I'll use a notebook. So what I'll do is I did grid work with a sticky. So I created 5 specific things that I wanted to clear, work on, whatever, transmute. So I had a grid working for 5 days. That was really interesting because I have a lot of tools. So it's like when I'm trying to play with this, I'm trying to play with it in different ways and I stay singular so I can really observe. So it's really interesting. There's a deep activations. Dragons are at me all over the place. It's crazy. You know how it's like when you say I want a red car and then you see all the red cars. Well, that's all I see now. It's crazy, right? So the grid work was really interesting because when I set an intention, it's very clear, it's very deep. It feels, visceral for me. And so some of those things manifested within hours, so it was really interesting. So, I mean, time, space, that's all like man-made thing, right? So um no, it's just a lot of fun. I'm really digging the dragon, sister. I
That's
really
awesome.
love the deep activation too. It's like really deeply activating for me. So
Ah, that
I
makes me
got a
so
new puppy,
happy.
Erin. Did you see the puppy?
What did you name your puppy?
Samson.
Oh my God. So
Anyway, so there's chaos here.
amazing. Well, dragons definitely bring chaos too. So like, both my littles are definitely dragons. All my kids are dragons, but especially the little of them. Yeah, they come in, don't they? But that makes me super happy. And that's the thing, like once you open up to dragon medicine, like fully open to it, they are everywhere. And you look around, you're like, oh my God, like how did I not see this? It's exactly, and actually it's so funny. I have a red car. Her name is Red Sonia. That's her nickname.
You know what's
But
funny? As Penelope, Penelope is a dragon, dude. I'm telling you, that kid is a dragon. She's a dragon, and that's why I think I was pushed here.
that's
You know what I'm
amazing.
saying? There's a
Mhm.
whole deeper lineage thing happening. I won't even go into it right now, but you get what I'm saying, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and that's the thing too. And then Sophia Code, that was anyone who hasn't heard of that one, it's by Kaya Ra. It's incredibly activating. I think it was back in I read it by audio. So it was an audiobook version, 2021, and it definitely changed my life. And there's a lot on dragon medicine in there too. So I just love how you're being led. And again, when it's the right time, especially when we're open to it, it goes really deep. That's what the dragons showed me. They're like, you bring alchemical dragon fire into the meridian system with a lot of intention, with specificity, and like we're ready for it. So that makes me super happy. I'm so pumped. I love the grid work. I do a lot of grid work as well, especially with the earth herself. So that's awesome.
Well,
Thank
you
you
know
for
what's
sharing.
really interesting? I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but I'm getting really hard stops on certain things. Like I've launched this phase of something that I've been doing for a long time, and I'm coming up to like it's a hard stop, and I'm like, God damn it, you know. I'm being forced to be redirected, and I'm not going to do that quite yet. But oh my God, seriously.
The dragons are really, really clear, and they're it's not that they're forceful, it's that they're so clear it can feel very forceful. Like that's the difference. Like they just know, and they're so absolute in their power and their truth and their love that they just I I did a lot of holy fire classes and I love holy fire Reiki, but nobody ever had business downloads when I was teaching holy fire. The first class I teach 5E the very first one, and people are getting crazy amounts of downloads for their businesses. So I just think there's a different vibe here because, you know, a lot of us as medicine women or medicine men, we have our digital village, right? We have our village is our business, like our business supports that. So it's medicine. And just like a doctor who has got a prescription, like they'll be like, no, this medicine's done. You need to be done with this now and move on. And so it's like, oh my God, like it's woo. So yeah, I know it's a lot. It's a lot. It's good. It's all so, so good, but it's a thing. Jenna, looks like you raised your hand. You want to hop in here?
Yeah, just wanted to check in too. Um, I definitely could have stayed the whole class. Last week, I had a baby born, but not until nighttime. But it was good to be there, and I felt really clear and calm the whole time there, which I usually do, but it just kind of I felt more supported. Um, and since I've been kind of having a little bit of a struggle with presence, and I was thinking about it this morning as I was driving my son to camp and like preparing for this class, and remembered something you said last week, Erin, about like barriers down, and realized like I think my system is trying to figure out like how to integrate these new levels, and there's some resistance or fear or just something that like has me feeling a little overwhelmed and kind of like zoning out playing Tetris on my phone when I could be giving myself Reiki. um so just naming that, it felt really good to like do the barriers down, kind of grounding myself a little more deeply, trying to like expand my fields for this work. Um, and I'm starting a master's program next month. And so I think there's also a part of my psychology that's like, rest while you can, like take it easy for another few weeks, because I know are gonna get busier. But yeah, just some compassion around it. And I really love the idea of like matching this work with things that I'm already doing. So I'm gonna brew on that for a bit. I love the steering wheel one because I do drive my son around a lot, and I think that could be a really good one.
Yeah, it works really well too. Like when I've done it, I'm like, the first time I did it, I was like, is this gonna work? I was like, it should in theory. And I was like, oh, it does. Like it really works. So hopefully you feel it too. And yeah, again, you know, Reiki, we never want to make it like a checkbox. Not that I'm not saying that you're doing that, Jenna, but just generally speaking, like, oh God, I didn't do it. So like I should be doing it, because I've seen people do that as well, where like they're almost hard on themselves about it. And we don't like, it's the opposite, right? It really is about just like when we remember, like, oh right, it's kind of like when you take, you know, if you're trying to drink more water, like, oh that's right, I'm gonna drink more water, like, oh that's right, okay, I'm gonna just put my hands on my body or whatever needs to happen, and I'm just gonna flow it to myself. But I love everything you shared. I think that's really, really beautiful with the baby being born. And that makes sense, you know, when we're integrating a lot of energies, sometimes we need something to just like refill our cup when there's a lot of structural changes. So playing video games, I love playing video games. So like I do it, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. And I think within a reasonable amount, like we know when we're like, oh no, I'm in full on avoidance, because we can actually feel it in our bodies, versus like, oh no, I'm actually refilling my cup right now. I'm refueling myself. So I think it's all beautiful and perfect. And I'm excited for you in your master's program. Like, you go, like, so good. All right, looks like we have a couple people who raised their hands. Dee Dee, you want to go? And then Laura will go.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure why my camera is not working this morning. Um, I've had a really strange week, to be completely honest. I've noticed, this might sound straight up cuckoo pants, and that's okay. But there's been a lot more darkness that has been coming around me. I was at a motorcycle show yesterday, and there was a lot of really dark energy that all of a sudden just like descended on the place. And so I used the Dragonfire Reiki and kind of like just practice my symbols, and you know, it lightened, but it was really weird because I noticed at the same time as the energy started to lighten, specific people that had kind of been moving in the same direction that I had throughout the show literally turned around and went the opposite way. So I don't know what that was about or anything. And then I've just noticed like strange things like that where throughout the week it's almost like I feel this wave of either, I don't know, dark or heavy energy. And I've been like, okay, well, let's, try the dragon fire symbol. And I've been practicing, and then it lightens. And I don't know if I'm consciously attracting that darkness or if it's just all of a sudden following me because I'm also on this really different spiritual path, that the things that I'm learning and my intuition, the way, oh, that's the other thing this week. My intuition, it feels like, I don't know, it's just bizarre. It's so much more intense, so much more acute, and I'm not really sure what's happening, so it's a little overwhelming, and I'm a little bit scared, to be completely honest. But I'm still moving through it and just been like, okay, so it's all good. We're gonna get there. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Aaron put it in the comment, and it sounds like you're more aware, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. When you are opened up to this energy, it's like everything is turned up. Like all of everything is turned up. You're aware of everything and anything that's happening at all times. I remember when I first really got into this medicine, and I like going to the grocery store, and I'm like, I thought I felt things before. Holy mother of Jesus, it got turned up to a whole other level. But then I had this tool, so I saw and I recognized I was feeling all these things, and it wasn't mine. So I just started calling in everything to, like, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. You called in the dragons to clear it out. And that energy has always been there. It's always been there. It's just now you're like hyper aware of it. So what I'm feeling is it's not really that you're calling in more. It's that it's just you're aware of it. And now the dragons are like, okay, so we're going to get rid of it. This isn't yours. You don't need to feel this. You don't need to walk this. And the other thing with dragons too is when you start calling them in, and you say like, I don't want this anymore, people will leave. I have had people, I will clear energies in a room, people will literally turn away and leave, or something will happen, be like, oh, I have to go, or they'll just like completely walk away. And it is, I say every time it happens, I'm like, I'm a witch. It's my favorite thing because it really, it's so cool when you start working with this energy on such a deep level. Things like that really do happen. It's awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm boggling. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
of course. Anybody else?
Um,
Oh, Laura.
so I was messaging with Carrie in the background because I haven't yet gotten a chance to watch the recording from day one. So I'm a little bit behind the eight ball when it comes to today's lesson. But at the same time, I have been connecting with the dragons more intentionally recently. And one of the things that I've noticed is for the longest time on my spiritual journey, one of the things that I've struggled with is this understanding and the, like, I don't know, the acknowledgement that I can do it on my own. Historically, I've always felt like I needed to go to somebody who was more like deeper in it and go to a practitioner in order to get rid of things that were like bothering me or to work through something that I was struggling with. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to do a lot of things and like process through and integrate energy on my own because I'm calling on them. And it's like that weird, like, well, let me give it a whirl and see if it'll work. Like, let me see if I can get rid of this like icky, sticky feeling that I've got. And then it does, and I'm like, that was interesting. I didn't really know if I was, and it's like the weird second guessing is kind of going away. I'm not really in a place where I'm like, hey, let's do it for everybody else. Although last week I missed on Monday because I was traveling for work and I was London to Brussels and back again. And everywhere I went, I was like, ooh, like we were going play. I was like, my hotel room, I was like clearing energy in my hotel room. And the same thing happened to me, Dee Dee, where I was in a space with a bunch of other professional folks at a conference. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And like was able to clear things out and literally had people that were in conversation with me be like, I'm going to go and have a conversation with this other person because I haven't met them yet. And like immediately the energy just shifted. So I'm excited about that, although I am a little bit behind today. So I'm going to be here and listening, but I have some additional work to do.
Yes, I love all of that so much. And we talked, and I'm like, I just think for you to be here today to watch this, and then we'll deal with the practicing later. Because I know other people couldn't be here too, so we'll have people that need to practice when the time comes. And I love all that. And that is the power of this dragon medicine. It's so beautiful. And I'm so proud of you for doing it on yourself. And again, it's so cool. And you're like, oh, it worked. Like, whoo, that's really exciting. And you will build up the confidence to do it on other people. It was actually the opposite for me. I did it on other people, and then I started having more confidence to do it on myself. So very, very excited for you. Anybody else want to share? Steven.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, a couple things. So I am actively seeing clients right now, and I saw a client last Monday evening, and it was my first time seeing him, and he had a dragon on his arm, a tattoo breathing fire. So like that was cool. And then I used to like deal with a ton of mania and like psychosis and all of that. So this was a huge activating week because I think there was just a lot of that and like trauma wrapped up around those periods of my life that started purging. So this has been like a kind of getting knocked around kind of week, but all for the better. And then as other people were mentioning, heightened awareness. Was planning to spend the weekend with a friend of mine who I'd spent a little bit of time with before, but I think it's no coincidence that after this activation, I was able to see things more clearly and recognized him as not quite an honest person or somebody that I want to spend time with. And I had this incredible perspective shift and left. So all around very powerful things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the thing. Um, People will come to me, be like, Aaron, I'm so sensitive to energy. Like I'm an empath, like help me. And it's like, oh, you're not going to become less sensitive. Okay. You're going to become more sensitive. And it's really not sensitive. It's aware. We just become so much more aware because we're willing to be aware. We're willing to be in our bodies. We're willing to be more conscious because we can handle it. It's really what it comes down to. Our capacity and our zone of tolerance increases. So I love that you were able to see that even holding whatever kind of activations were happening around mania. I had a lot get kicked up this last week for me too. Really, really deep seated stuff from childhood. It's like, and I'm always doing the revolutions, but I was like, oh my God, like this is really, really deep stuff. So the heart meridian is the deepest. It's the deepest of all of the primary elemental meridians. So that is where that mania can be, and a lot hatred, shame, like a lot can live in that. So when it gets activated and we're able to move it out, it's so beautiful. And then things clear up, things clear out, and then you're able, what I love too is you're able to see it and then also take aligned action around it and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to withdraw myself from this. And I think that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Oh, so good. Yeah. And he says, I love that. Good work, Stephen. Thanks for sharing your openness. I know. Does anybody else want to share? I know Alice.
I'll go.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Jess. Yeah, go for it.
So I love what everybody's saying, and I can resonate a lot with it, like how you said you become more sensitive, but it's been in a good way because I've been more aware and I've been able to lean more into my intuition. Like the dragons have just been showing me that like it's okay and to pay attention, and that by paying attention all of these things are coming to me and what I need to do, and it's just kind of like things are working themselves out in divine order. And it's really beautiful to see like through trusting myself and trusting that it's going to be okay. And normally where I would get like really overwhelmed, I've had a really crazy, stressful week with school and starting that while starting this. And so the whole chaos, like where you said the dragons bring chaos, oh man, have they brought it? Like, oh man. But at the same time, like it's been really beautiful navigating it. It's been a really cool experience and not like a bad kind of chaos where I'm like, oh my God, I can't handle it. Like those thoughts and feelings will come like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get this done or what am I going to do? But then it subsides and I'm quickly able to tell myself it's okay, just like one step at a time, we're going to get through it. And then usually something will come intuitively or like through my channel of what I need to do that like creates more flow or allows things to happen. And then again, there's also been like those hard no's and those shifts that I've been aware of, paying attention to like what feels good and what doesn't. And if it doesn't, then I lean into that and it's a hard no then. And to like be okay with that and just let it go. It's really cool.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And it is that connection. You get connected deeper to yourself and your own intuition because your channel literally opens up. And because of 5-element dragonfire Reiki specifically, we're bringing alchemical dragonfire and Reiki into the meridian system so it can clear and nourish at the same time. So when people talk about being a channel, they actually don't know it, but what they're talking about is channels plural, right? So when you're able to receive the medicine and then it opens things up and then things are just moving and it is clearer, it is easier to see and feel. And that's why our sensitivity goes up, our awareness goes up because it's like seeing in color when you've been seeing in muted colors or black and white even. And suddenly you can see the nuance and feel the nuance in your body. Plus we're connected to our bodies. So we're able to go, oh, that's what's happening. We trust what's coming through more. And then we make these choices. And so there's that flow that happens. So that's beautiful. And that is something I've noticed too, is our capacity increases. Like you were saying, it's been more stressful, maybe in the past that would have like thrown you, but you've been able to navigate it. That's one of the most powerful pieces of this specific type of energy medicine is our nervous system capacity increases, our zone of tolerance increases, so we can actually handle more, move more quickly, and it's like a really beautiful thing. So thank you for that show. It's awesome. I love it. I just wanted to read, I think Alex was in here too, talking about motherhood. Yeah, she said, I've been having big epiphanies around motherhood. This is something I intentionally wanted to work on this year. It looks like the dragons want to help me work on this. Yeah, that makes sense. Dragons are the ultimate creatrixes. So if you're like wanting to actually create human beings, they're definitely going to drop in. This is I'm finding I'm having deeper, more authentic conversations with people about their past childhood trauma. However, the sharing hasn't had the normal trauma sharing relationship building. Rather, there has been a deep healing that has happened during the sharing, almost as if the dragons are working in the background without me consciously calling them, as if they are working intuitively with my higher self. Yes, when you open to dragon medicine, they don't leave your side. They're always there with you, whether you're conscious or not. They encourage interdependent connections and conversations, not trauma bonding, not codependence, not hyper independence either. So like all of it, we're all healing our attachment issues like through this modality and everything else that we're doing, and it starts with that deep connection to yourself. So that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
One thing that I wanted to say about the motherhood piece, that was a huge item for me. And what I got from them was they want you to love yourself as much as they love you and as much as they have the capacity to love. And a lot of love for ourselves is lost in motherhood because you constantly feel like you're not doing a good job and second guess all of that flow. And so it's one of the easiest spots for them to start with you because it is the most, it has a lot of like societal pressure on top of it, and they just kind of go in and pull it all out. It's an easy kind of first initiation, but it doesn't feel easy when it's happening to you.
It's low hanging fruit for sure. There's a lot of polarity on motherhood, and I could go on and I won't. But yeah, thank you, Laura, for that. Absolutely spot on. Jenna says this topic brings me to tears. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot. It's motherhood is yeah, it's in this society. It's a losing thing, and so there's a lot of shame and guilt that is sort of baked in because of the way that the world, not all the world, but most of the world does motherhood and the expectations around it. So yeah, it's really potent because Alex doesn't have any human babies yet. So like it's a really, really brave, courageous thing to start to look at before. A lot of us sort of wait until we have an actual baby and then we go, oh fuck. Okay, I guess all of my shadows are getting activated all at once. And also I feel like heaven on earth because I've created this human being and there's nothing like it. So it's a whole thing. All right. Do we all feel complete? I know a bunch of people put stuff in the chat too. Amy says, yes, I found myself feeling sad about my adult kids and doing I love myself affirmations all week. Ha, obviously that was the dragons to the rescue. Yes. Yes, definitely a call to love yourself more deeply. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to share screen really here. So, oops, hit the wrong button. So we're here on day 2. We're gonna go right into the Ren meridian, Du meridian, and the 4 fire meridians. So the heart, pericardial, small intestine, and Sanjiao. We are gonna talk about bringing dragon fire into the fire meridians. You're gonna get practice time today, and then we'll talk about the professional Reiki membership, the Reiki share which is done monthly, and then we'll discuss certificates. So I'm gonna go all the way down. Okay, so the Ren and Du meridians, these are 2 of the extraordinary vessels. There's 8 extraordinary vessels in the body. The normal levels do not cover the extraordinary vessels. Okay, they are formed in utero. They're very mysterious. So I was told by the dragons that we're not doing those in these main levels. We're sticking mostly to the elemental meridians, except for the Ren and the Du. So the Ren starts at the perineum and runs up the midline of the body until it rests under the bottom lip. Okay, so it's the front of the body and it stops below your bottom lip there. And I will show a video in a minute. It's straight line, it's really, really easy. And then the Du meridian, so the Ren meridian is known as the sea of all yin, or the feminine energies of the body, including the yin meridians. There's yin and yang meridians. So the Du meridian is a sea of all yang, so all the masculine energies. It starts between the tip of the coccyx and the anus and runs up the spine, wraps over the head, and ends just above the upper lip. Okay, so the Ren ends here and the Du meridian ends here. So the Ren meridian, as I say here, sea of all yin, governs the yin feminine meridians and energies of the body. The Du meridian is known as the sea of all yang and governs the yang masculine meridians and energies of the body. Before we bring dragonfire into the meridians, we typically always get these meridians connected and spinning so that the energy is moving. It helps circulate the dragonfire through the meridians. I'm Reiki too, right? We do this through what's called the microcosmic orbit. So that is where you breathe in through the nose and you touch your tongue to the top palate of your mouth. It comes down through, and then as you release and exhale through your mouth, you release your tongue. And that is the microcosmic orbit. So, I'm gonna stop the share. Oh, I have a little human who came in to nurse. Carrie, do you have the videos? Can you go through? Okay.
Yes, I do have the videos. So let me pull those up. Dun, dun, dun. Where did I put them? Hold on a second. Let me grab them. I had them and then they disappeared. Where did they go? Oh, they're there. All the way over here. Because I have 30,000 tabs open, you guys. Let's do this. Okay. So can everybody see these? Let me get them open. Make this big. It's gonna go fast. We're gonna show it to you and then we'll show it to you twice and then the third time we'll trace it. So the Ren, very easy, very straight line. Right up through the midline. And right at the bottom of the lip. And then don't be afraid don't be nervous about not understanding exactly where and having all these memorized. This is the first time, so it's completely okay. Just the second time. And then this time I'm going to have you guys trace it, and you can just energetically trace it if you want. But if you do trace it along the line of your body, you might feel it activating. So go back and trace. And it ends right at the bottom of the lip. Let me show the do now too, since we're doing, okay, yeah, I should have just done that. I got
Yeah,
this.
these ones are so easy. It's like
Yes,
it's a straight
hands
line.
down, the easiest. Let me, I think it'll actually pay the next one. There we go. So this is the do meridian. So the back all the way up the spine. We'll just show it one more time and you guys can trace it this one time. And if you can't reach the back, unless you're very flexible, it actually, does it end in the mouth? Do we say it ends on the top of the mouth?
The external ends above the
Right
top
there.
of the lip.
Okay.
Yeah, the external branch.
There we go. And then we can just trace this as best as you can. I don't expect you guys to be super flexible. Just energetically trace it till it gets to the back of your head. And that's that. And I know we'll talk about it later as well, but I just want to share when I am activating the Ren and the Do specifically, I just touch the bottom lip and the top lip, and that's how I activate it. Instead of tracing the entire thing, you will find a way that works really good for you. But for me, it's just very simple for me to touch the beginning and the end, and that circulates it. Any questions about the Ren and the Do? Nope, nope. Okay, go, go ahead,
Well,
yes.
Carrie, I put it in the chat, but on the Ren at the top, it said conception vessel, and on the do, it says governing. Did I read that correctly? Governing vessel. Is there something important around that we should know, or is that more the deeper you get into acupuncture and whatnot?
It's another name for the same thing. Yeah. So
Okay.
you'll see it called Ren or conception vessel, or you'll see it called Do or governing vessel. Yeah. Some of them have just like alternate names. Good question.
That's a beautiful question.
Yeah.
Let me get the book on.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
When is a good time to do this activation? Is it like in the context of a session or whenever you feel like it?
So
You can actually, oh, go ahead, Carrie. Go for it.
no, you go ahead.
You can do it whenever you want, but you're learning all of these for specifically to do a full session.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you could like whenever you need it for yourself, or you can, especially the microcosmic orbit, that breath work to get your energy spinning. The microcosmic orbit is not from 5-element Dragonfire Reiki. That's like a pretty well-known technique outside that you pulled in. So yeah, you can, but you're learning all of these meridians specifically so that you can bring Dragonfire and Reiki through the meridian system to clear the emotions attached to them, and any physical stuff too. So it's pretty cool.
Go back. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 4 fire meridians, and we'll do one by one. Unless you should I read all of them and then do the videos?
Yeah, I just so you don't have to flip flop back
Okay.
and forth. That way they can kind of get a sense for all of them. Then we can show the videos, you know what I mean? And then there's the visual actual pictures in the workbook too.
We're still learning, guys. We're still doing us. Okay, so the 4 fire meridians in the body are the heart, the small intestine, the pericardium, and the sanjiao, aka the triple energizer or triple warmer. The fire meridians correspond to the emotions of happiness, joy, and mania. So the heart meridian, it starts at the middle of the armpit and ends at the bottom corner of the nail on the little finger on the radial side. So the radial is the outside, yes. And then the inside is the outside. So dredge and sedate when the person feels manic or anxious, and nourish the heart meridian when the person has a hard time holding the feeling. So when you're dredging or sedating, you are going opposite of the meridian. So you are starting at the end and then going and finishing at the beginning. And then nourishing, you are going the natural way of the channel. And then the small intestine is the starting point at the bottom corner of the nail and the little finger on the ulnar side and it ends at the tragus on the ear. So this clears anxiety or mania from the heart and helps us sort the pure from the impure on all levels, mental, physical, and emotional. And then the pericardium meridian, it starts on the chest, lateral to the nipple, and then it ends on the tip of the middle finger. And the pericardium is the bodyguard of the heart. It protects the heart from all emotional trauma, emotions, and defensiveness. And then the sanjiao, the triple energizer, it starts at the bottom corner of the nail on the ring finger on the ulnar side and it ends at the front of the ear. So the sanjiao is a mysterious meridian. Some call it the lymphatic system. Use this for physical pain along the meridian or to clear the lymphatic system. So this is the most meridians you will get during an elemental class. So do not feel overwhelmed. This is a lot of information. This is the most information heavy of all of the elemental classes. So this is the first time you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to remember this. That is okay. This is just the beginning stages so you can start working with it. So now we are going to we'll start with the heart meridian. And we will watch these. We'll do it twice, trace the third time. So it starts the armpit and goes down. Down, 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 down. And it ends right on the inside of the middle finger, the pinky finger. And do it again. And then it runs on both sides of the body. And trace it. One more time. You can do it on the other side if you want. Middle finger. Inside of the arm. That one. Any questions about that one so far? And we can go over all of these as well after. Now we're gonna do the small intestine. So we'll watch it once and we'll trace it twice. So we're at the outside of the pinky finger. It starts like the other one ends at the pinky. It starts the pinky up. And do not worry about all the zigzags. You do not need to know all of the points exactly. Up the back, the shoulders. And it wraps around and ends right. Tragus. And now this one you can trace on one side, and then the second time we'll trace on the other one. Again, if you can't reach the back, do the best you can. And we'll just do the other side. We're just going to run through all of them, and then any questions after we'll do. This is the Sanjiao. This is a triple energizer. So right at the ring finger, goes all the way up your arm. And it wraps around your ear. And it's right out of your eye. So this time we can trace it. So trace it on one side and the second time and trace the other one.
As you're tracing too, don't worry about all the zigs and the zags, and you're not going to be able to touch everything or access everything. Don't worry about those little pink balls. Those are acupuncture points. You're not acupuncturist, so you don't need to know any of that. You're just getting the general sense for each of these meridians, and that's all you're going to need for Reiki specifically.
And then your other side, whatever side you didn't do before. Beautiful. And then the last one is the pericardium. It starts like right next to the nipple.
Yeah, for guys it'll make sense.
Yes.
For ladies, it's
Yes.
a little. It's
Especially if you've
just
you
like
know,
up here.
had children, breastfed, you know, they're not where they're supposed to be. So you just pretend. And then this time you can trace it again, trace on one side, then we'll trace on the other. And you might even be feeling some beautiful little magic as you're doing this, because you're giving yourself Reiki as you are doing this right now.
Yeah, even without intending to send Reiki, just tracing the meridians will nourish them. And then on top of it, Reiki will typically just activate on its own. So like I always feel them when I'm doing that, doing it, even just tracing it in class. It's very cool.
So one of the things I noticed is that all but one kind of, it appears start somewhere else and kind of end at the fingers, versus there's the one that starts at the fingers, or is there two? Did I miss that? That like come up from your fingers and go like into your head. I think there's two, right? Two that start at your fingers and two that end at your fingers. So remembering which way to dredge versus nourish.
Yes. So the yang meridians, or the masculine meridians of the body, are on the outside of the body. So anatomical position is where your palms are facing up. Okay. So anything sort of the front of the body or the inside of the arms, the inside of the legs, that is considered yin, right? Internal. Anything on the back of the body or the outside of the body, that's yang. So your yang meridians are always on the outside of the body. So the outside of the legs, the outside of the arms, or the back of the body. Your yin meridians, the feminine ones, are always on the inside of the body or the front of the body. And part of it is the yang meridians start on the outside of the body at the fingertips, right, for these. And then the yin meridians, the feminine ones, start on the body or in the body, like the heart starts in the armpit, for instance, and goes. So as you build on all of these, right, the meridians are the most complex part of 5-element Dragonfire Reiki, right? But good news, you don't have to memorize over 300 acupuncture points like I did and be able to locate them and then put a needle in there. So while it can feel like a lot, as you just trace them over, you have the videos. I know those aren't clickable links in your workbook, but in the Facebook group, there is a featured list that has all of the meridian videos. And then we'll also, after this, be going and we'll look at your workbook again, because you do have pictures of them. So we tried to give you a lot of different ways to start to interact with these meridians as you get used to it. But if it feels funky, that's okay. It is funky when I remember when I first started learning about these. I don't know how, so she's also an acupuncturist. I don't know how it was for her, but I remember when I first started learning, I was like, these are so cool. And I also have no idea what's happening right now. Right. But over time, as you develop a relationship to them, magical things happen. Absolutely magical things. So great question. Thank you. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. As you're moving through, is like, okay, the yang meridians are on the outside of the body. The yin meridians are on the inside of the body. They're cut in half, right? Because they're always paired together. So hopefully that helps. Anybody else have any questions?
This might be a little off topic, but what about using Reiki for like pets like dogs and cats? And is that something that we can, because how does the consent work for them?
I mean, they let you know if they don't want it.
Fair.
They'll be like they might be like, whoa, and then be like, okay, or they might be like, no, 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 and it's like, well, they will leave if they don't want it. But usually pets love it. But you can
Okay.
absolutely. I know Jenna, her poor cat had his tail amputated the first day of class, and so he's like up on her, and like, yeah, giving that kitty Reiki, like, for sure. But animals typically love Reiki. Children love Reiki. They don't need to understand it. But yeah, and you just get a sense with animals too.
Yes, just because I do a lot of Reiki on animals, I've just always learned you just know. Just the same way, like there's this like unspoken communication that they want Reiki, they want to receive it, and dogs, cats, they will lie there, and if they do not want it, they will get up and walk away. It's as simple as that. Jess, I think you had something to say to that.
Yeah. So with doing Reiki, like on per se my son, he is very hyperactive, doesn't want to sit still, just wants to go against the grain for everything. Could I do distance Reiki with this dragon fire on him while we're like right next to each other? So in that way that negates that whole, like, he won't even know it's happening, but it is.
Yeah, since he's your child, consent is a little different because they're so connected to you, and they're underage, they don't really know what they're consenting to anyway. But yeah, you can absolutely, and Reiki never violates free will, by the way, either. So if we're sending Reiki, of course I'm just speaking generally now, not about kids, just we want to get consent. But if you're like, oh man, uncle, whatever, Dave is in a coma and he can't consent, you can still flow Reiki to them at a distance. And if they want to receive it, they will. And if they don't, I just like to set the intention it goes to somebody that will. But to your point, yes, you can absolutely give him distance Reiki whenever you want, whenever you think of him. Carrie also, I love this. She, with her kids specifically, I've tried a little bit with my kids, my 5-year-old, and it's kind of like a touch and go. But with her kids, she actually has taught them the meridians, especially the heart meridian. So when they're getting upset, she'll actually I'll let you talk about it, Carrie. It's very cool.
Yeah, so 2 of my kids very much so ADHD, and one of them has a lot of like, he gets very angry and very, very emotional. And I did teach him how to trace them. So he'll trace up and down his heart and his pericardium meridians. And if he's not tracing them, I teach him to touch them. Like we tap them and we tap them, or we tap wherever we need to tap. And I will find him in moments by himself. And my 2 boys, 10 and 8, they're the ones who do this. My daughter, she can do it. She's 6, but she knows way more than any normal human should. So she will just trace them, or they will just trace them. I'll find them tracing themselves. And it's helped a lot because it gives them like something to do, and they're like learning about the energy, and they're understanding the energy.
And kids naturally want to direct the energy and do something with it. They just don't know what. And that's why I'm like, how can I help him? So that was very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I did have another question though, going back to the distance Reiki. If I were to do it with him, do I need to do the distance symbol with the dragon fire symbol then, like sandwich the dragon fire, or what would I do in that situation?
You can. Constellation and is a really great, powerful symbol. I honestly, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I do it as called. I think once you work with the symbols long enough, you just kind of know what is required in the moment. So it's like the hard and fast rules stop. Like they stop having that big of significance, and you follow the energy. So, yes, we'll say as just like a generalization, yes, use constellation then with, and you can do the sandwich if you want. along with the other symbols. But if you don't do it, it will still work.
So the dragon fire Reiki will still work if we set our intentions for distance. We don't necessarily need to do the distance symbol, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that once you've done it long enough, sometimes I use the distance. Honestly, I usually never use the distance symbol now because I've been doing it for so long. But if you're newer
Okay.
or you're out of practice, use the distance symbol.
Okay.
Right. So
Thank you.
the answer is yes, use the distance symbol. However, the caveat here is, at a certain point, you kind of sometimes even become some of these tools, and then it just feels like I used to set the intention every single time before a session. I'd be like, okay, I'm calling in my guides, I'm calling in my clients' guides, like I do this whole thing. And then at one point, my guides were laughing at me. They were literally standing. They're like, "Erin, we're already here. We already know we're here." Like they were laughing at me. So but before that point, it was very powerful for me to do that. For some reason, this feels really important for me to just talk about is the evolution of Reiki. The energy is your teacher, right? So it will help to inform you as things move. So follow the energy. But again, as a very simple, yes, use the distance symbol, and it will absolutely work. The distance symbol will work with and should work with any type of Reiki. If it's Reiki, it's gonna work. Go ahead, Dee Dee. You raise your
Thank
hand.
you. So you just kind of answered my question, which was when we did the distance symbol. So the way it spoke to me, or rather the way it spoke to me and I interpreted it was that the distance symbol and how I've been using it is for distance within the own person's life, both past and future. So sending it through their timelines. And just in hearing everyone speak, I was like, oh, I'm using it wrong then. But then you said it'll speak to you and to use it the way that it tells you to use it. So is that okay for me to have that interpretation and use that symbol that way?
Yeah. Yeah, Hansha Zaishoden. So that's for Reiki level 2. I love it was what's his name? I can't remember his name, but I gave it out in Reiki level 2. It's an article. I'm so bad with names these days. I have mom brain. But anyway, another Reiki master wrote about Hansha Zaishoden really being it's less of a bridge and it's about recognizing we're all one. So when you use it for past lives, future lives, I have used Hansha Zaishonen when I took my acupuncture boards because I was so afraid of taking them and failing that I sent Reiki to myself, and it made such a massive difference. So yes, you can use it in all those ways. And I think maybe that's why it's coming through so strongly to talk about the evolution of Reiki and also the energies your teacher. You have a relationship with these symbols, right? They have their own sort of consciousness. So if they're speaking to you and they're showing you different secrets, or not even secrets, but just different aspects of them, and it feels right in your body, I highly encourage that you follow that always. And this might be where I differ a little bit and Carrie differs a little bit from other Reiki practitioners. Some Reiki practitioners, they're very they're almost a little too rigid in my personal opinion about it. And one of the reasons I love Reiki is that it adapts. It is amorphous and it's the teacher. It is the teacher. So does that help?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I did want to talk about, I think it was Jenna talking about the Sanjiao meridian. Yeah, so Sanjiao meridian is very cool. It's an interesting meridian. It connects the 3 different areas of the body together. So it helps move a lot. And so yeah, you can definitely play with that during, with if you have pain or even labor, stuff like that. So there's some other points and things that are great for labor. We can talk about it another time if you're curious, Jenna, that I can give you that you can press on and things like that. So awesome. Alex says I had some major physical discomfort in the pericardium meridian this weekend. It felt very connected to the small intestine meridian as well. When I started working with the pericardium, I noticed the small intestine meridian relax as well. Yeah, it's very cool how once you're connected to them, and it might take some time, but once you connect to them, you can I'll be walking around and be like, okay, what's going on with me right now? And then I can cue into the meridians. I can feel the energy moving and go, oh, I'm clearing fear right now because I can feel my kidney meridian dredging itself. It'll actually automatically start to do that. It's very cool. So yeah, everything's connected. pericardium meridian is the bodyguard of the heart. So it's around if you've been overly defensive, so letting go, or if you need to create boundaries, right? The pericardium is very much so where it's at. And this is obviously a very simplified explanation of it. So, oh, Celine, she's like, what is mania? Jenna says it's like a type of hyperactivity or exaggerated happiness. Yes, exactly. Celine, the Joker. Do you know the Joker? Okay, so trying to think of other characters that have like their mania.
Joker, the horror movie.
Yes. When he's
Clown.
yeah, the clown, when he's like laughing and cackling, that's mania, like a maniac mania. So yeah, it helps to the heart that corresponds to the heart meridian. So it helps to move that out of the body. But that's perfect. Thanks, Jenna. And then Laura says mental illness marked by periods. Oh, great. Laura put in there too. Thank you. Yeah, Alex says, yeah, so very true. My dog's very about it, right? About Reiki, depending where your rabbit leans into. I didn't know you had a rabbit, Alex. Laura says her 2 boys love Reiki. Awesome. Laura has a couple different books there for Reiki with kids if anyone's interested as well. One of my my former Reiki students, she just taught kids Reiki as well, which was really cool. Oh yeah. Laura's talking about her 2 hyperactive boys and them loving Reiki and dragons. Awesome. Beautiful. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go to share screen again, and we're gonna go look at it again. Because again, it's a lot. So you can ignore the little dashy dashes. It's not important for what we're using it for. That is the internal branch. There's an external and internal branch. It is sufficient for you to simply work with the external branch. It activates the rest of it. So like you don't need to know that. Like Carrie mentioned, it's bilateral. I thought it was really interesting when I purchased these illustrations, it only shows it on one side. So what I encourage you to do is take a pen or a pencil and actually trace it. Again, this is just another way for you to help your brain process and sort of remember and connect to it. So again, here we are at the armpit, coming down on the corner of the pinky. So the heart is on the inside there, and then the small intestine meridian is actually on the outside. So if you get kind of tripped up. Again, inside, inner, yin, pericardium, I'm sorry, heart is a yin meridian, so is pericardium. And the small intestine meridian paired with it is on the outer. So feel free if you want to draw that really quickly. Small intestine meridian, like I just talked about. So this has just a lot of zigzaggy going on, which again, you don't need to know that, but it does start on the outside, right? So now we're starting on the finger. It's a yang meridian on the outside here, and it goes up the outside of the arm. So you can feel like the blade here of your arm, and your hand comes up, does this sweet little zigzag around your scapula, your shoulder blade, comes up the neck, and then goes to the tragus and then ends on the corner of the eyebrow there. That's good. They had this illustration is a little bit wonky at the top, but again, if you are unclear, you can always look at the video as well. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what I love about this. It's not about perfection. You know, it's you're connecting, you're seeing the meridian, you are connecting to it, you're intending to connect to it, you're learning about it, you had the full activation, the 6/6 Dragonfire activation. You had another activation last week. You had an attunement installation, right? So there's all these different ways that we are connecting you up to these meridians. So that's the small intestine. The heart and the small intestine are paired. Here's the pericardium, right? So lateral to the nipples, so go, lateral is towards the outside of the body, coming up over, because it's a yin meridian, it is on the inside of the arm, coming down. And this one's easier because it goes in the middle, right? And then it ends on the middle finger, which is hilarious to me because that's the finger we use to flip people off. And the pericardium is the bodyguard of the heart. So I was like, oh my God, that's kind of funny. I don't think that's a coincidence either. So feel free if you want to draw it on the other side, because again, this is bilateral. It's on both sides of the body. I love to work with the pericardium and the heart together, because when you're So both are considered yin meridians. Okay, so feminine meridians. They're deep internal meridians. However, of them, because in Eastern medicine, there's always a concept, you've seen the yin and yang symbol. There's always yin within yang and yang within yin. And so, you know, the one side is white, one side is black. Well, in the white side, there's a little black dot. That means there's yin within yang, because white is yang. And then the other side is black with a little white dot, right? And so that's yang within yin. And so of this structure, which is yin, the heart and the pericardium is a little more yang, meaning it protects, it's on the outer, right, surface. So when you balance your pericardium and your heart meridians, your heart can open up because it doesn't have to be overly defensive. If the pericardium, this meridian, is doing its job, if your energies are actually protecting you and not overly defensive, right? We don't want to be like clammed up, then the heart opens. So when you work with these two meridians specifically to remove defensiveness, so to let go of anything where you have protective mechanisms that are actually not serving you, then the heart can open. It's a very, very cool thing. And I intend to do more in these classes around this. But so there's pericardium, and then triple energizer, Sanjiao meridian. It's also known as Sanjiao meridian as well. And so this one is on the ring finger. And so you're going, again, it's a more yang masculine meridian, so from the outside of the body, right outside of the arm, going up the arm. Instead of the small intestine, which goes over the scapula, it just goes straight over on your shoulder here. It comes up. This one's cool because it wraps around your ear, right, and then it ends up over here on the outside of the eyebrow. Obviously, you won't be able to draw all of them bilaterally because of the illustration, but where you can, I highly suggest it. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for a second. What questions? Yes, all of them are on both sides except for Ren and Du meridians and then the other extraordinary vessels, but you don't need to worry about those. All the elemental meridians are bilateral. They are on both sides. And also, I just want to say, it doesn't matter, like later on, if you guys take the wood dragon, for instance, and somebody had their gallbladder removed, they still have the energetics of that. It doesn't actually matter that they have those things removed. That just, for some reason, pained me to say too. It's very, very cool how it all works together. How's everyone doing? Did Alex just raise her hand? Did I see? I saw a little thing, or maybe that was just something else. I don't know. No, she didn't. Okay. All right. So bringing Dragonfire into the fire meridians. Carrie mentioned it earlier. If you go with the channel, okay, so the video shows it that way. It's written down where it starts, where it ends as well. So if you're going with the channel, with the flow, think of it like a flowing river, right? The energy does flow in one way, then it's nourishing the channel, right? So going against the channel dredges and clears it. So as one example, if I wanted to nourish the heart meridian, I would start at the armpit and then go down to the inside of the pinky finger. If I wanted to dredge it, or another word for dredging would be like detox, right? So remove something out of it. So if there's too much energy in the channel, then I would start at the pinky finger and I would go up to the meridian. Once you cue into this, you will feel it. You will feel the difference between, right? So we dredge when there's an excess of negative energy or motion associated with the meridian. If there's physical pain in the channel that is worse when pressed on, this is like a little cheat sheet here. Then we also dredge that meridian because it indicates there's an excess energy in the meridian. So if you had a headache, right? So if you had a temple headache, right, and you were like pressing on it, you're like, oh, okay, it actually feels worse when you press on it. Then that means there's too much energy in there. So you would dredge. If you, right, on the other hand, if you were to push on it and it's like, oh, it feels better if you push on it, that means there's a deficiency of energy. There's not enough. So then you'd want to nourish, right? So we nourish once we've cleared the meridian with Dragonfire to bring in the balanced emotion of the meridian. So now we're talking emotions. We also nourish in cases where there's physical pain along the channel and it feels better when pressed on since this indicates deficiency. We bring strong dragon fire in when we are dredging, clearing, or nourishing the meridians by connecting the energy of the fire dragon and then envisioning either the dragon shrinking down or entering the meridian, the dragon breathing fire into the meridian, or we use our dragon breath directly to go into the meridian. So you have the installation of your dragon breath. And so what that does is it gives you this ability to use your dragon breath. So if you want to incorporate breath work with it, and it is quite natural, but right, where you can actually like you're breathing dragon fire to help with that, especially when you're dredging, you can incorporate that aspect into Reiki as well. It's pretty fun. But I gave a few different examples here because there's not like a right way to do it. You want to play with what feels good to you. When I was first started doing 5e-DFR, there was this dragon and it shrunk down. It was really cute and it would like go through the meridians, right? But a lot of times that's not what's happening. A lot of times I just can feel or see the fire, right, and the Reiki going through the meridians, or I can't even see it at all. I can feel it or just know it. So you're going to get to play with this a bit and have fun with it and see what feels good to you, right? So again, when we dredge clear, the intensity of the dragon fire is very bright, like molten lava or flames, versus when we nourish, which is a much lower level of intensity, like smoldering coals. Like the difference between, you know, if you are going to like use fire to make a hot bath, right? Versus like, oh no, I want to burn a whole field down. Those are very different intensities. So you can play with the intensity of the energy as well. And then Carrie, do you wanna also talk?
Of course.
I tend to get going and then there we go, you know.
No, it's fine. So bringing dragon fire into the meridians. So there are many ways to bring dragon fire and fire dragons into the meridians. You can call on the dragon fire itself and see, feel, or intend that the fire permeate the meridians. You can also shrink the entire fire dragon down itself until it's small enough to fit inside the meridians, just like Aaron said, and then send the entire dragon down through the meridians as it breathes fire. So either way works, and please feel free to come up with a unique way for yourself. Choose whatever feels good to you and makes you giggle. The more joyful we are when we bring dragon fire into the fire meridians, the better joy and happiness nourishes all of our fire meridians. So steps for a quick five element dragon fire Reiki level 4 session. So you're going to activate Reiki however you'd like to. Then step 2, you're going to connect to the fire dragons. Example, I call on the fire dragons now and their fire dragon's breath to clear, transmute, and nourish the meridians. So step 3, imagine, feel, or intend the fire dragon or its dragon fire moving through the meridians. Step 4, run for as long as it takes for the energy to lighten or as long as you have based on the time restraints. Then step 5, offer gratitude to the dragons for assisting you today. So that's just a very quick overall. Most of you have been, I mean, all of you have done at least level 3 Reiki, so you understand how to run Reiki. You're just adding the energy of the dragon fires in there. So then this is bringing the dragon fire into the meridians.
Yeah, so this one is more intensive now. So we're like, the other one was like a little mini, like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna like quickly do something. This one is like, no, I'm gonna do like a full session now.
Yes. So this is step 1. Call on the deep blue dragons to clear your physical space and the physical space of the other person. Deep blue dragons are experts at clearing spaces. Step 2, call on the fire dragon to clear your energy, your auric field, and the other person's auric field. Step 3, activate your Ren meridian and Du meridian, connect them into the microcosmic orbit. So that's the tongue to create that, or the touching. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly, Carrie. No, you were doing it. It's just when you were explaining it one more time. So go for it. Sorry, I need to actually write it in here. So
okay,
I'll make it.
So it's the tongue where you're touching in to the roof of your mouth when you breathe in, and then releasing on when you breathe out. That's creating the microcosmic orbit. And then, like I said at the beginning, I touch here and here. I also do the tongue thing as well. And then step 4, bring dragon fire into the Ren and Du meridians by asking the fire dragon to breathe fire into them. You can also activate your own dragon breath to bring fire through them. Again, you will find whatever way works for you. This is just a very good outline to start with if you don't know where to start. And then step 5, repeat steps 3 and 4 for your client. Don't get hung up on which direction the fire flows. You will automatically understand. Sometimes it goes backwards, sometimes it goes forward. It will make sense to you. There is no right or wrong way. So step 5, dredge the heart meridian first and then nourish the heart meridian with dragon fire, either from the fire dragon directly or with your dragon breath. You will understand. And then step 6, repeat step 5 for the small intestine, the pericardium, and the Sanjiao meridians. And then step 7, thank the fire dragons for assisting you. Then gently close down the Ren and the Dew meridians simply by asking them to slow down to normal speed. And the biggest thing for all of this is you're all Reiki practitioners. You all know how to do this. Do not overthink this. I know you're going to overthink this. I can say do not overthink this all day long, but you're still going to overthink it. You already know how to do this. It's about having fun. It's about leaning into the energy. It's about listening to your body, listening to the energy, listening to their energy, and just going with the flow in the most beautiful way. Yes, stretch and nourish all the meridians when you're doing this for each other when you're in those classes, just so you understand how to do it.
Yeah, at this point, you all have your style. You have your way of opening up the container. You have your way of disconnecting the container at the end. You're just also bringing in the dragon element. You're working consciously with the meridians or giving the dragons and the Reiki permission to move into the meridians. And this is not the first elemental class for some of you, and for some of you, it is your first elemental class. And so for those of you where it is the first elemental class, again, this is double the amount of meridians. There's 4 fire meridians. All of the other elements only have 2. So there's a lot of information to process, but that's why you go and you practice, right? Is so that you can get accustomed to it. And then before you know it, you'll be using it and be like, oh my God, this is like the best thing ever. It's so good because it's so effective. Yes. Just as I have brain problems, breathing exercises are hard for me to do along with anything else, and I mess up the exercise. Is the microcosmic orbit super important? Any suggestions to make it easier on my brain? You don't have to do it. If it's gonna mess you up, don't worry about it. You don't need to do the dragon breath. You don't need to do the microcosmic orbit if it's going to mess with you, especially in the beginning, or if because you have if you're struggling to like, oh my God, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, just let it go. It will work. These are things that help to enhance the session, but they're not necessary. It's going to be an incredible session regardless. So, and I do encourage all of you to sort of pick and choose what feels really good to you as you're moving through. Because again, you are working with divine sentience. The Reiki has its own divine knowledge and knowing. The dragons have their own divine knowledge and knowing. And for all of you who have been working with dragons, they absolutely have a mind of their own. And you'll be going in and doing something and they'll be like, don't do it that way. You're like, oh, okay. And they'll be like, do it this way. And you're like, okay then, right? So think of each session as alive because it is. And so over time, especially, you're going to be led, you're going to be guided, and it might not be visual, it might not be you hearing things, depending on what kind of clairs you have, right? It might just be knowing, like, oh, I need to go do this, or, oh, I feel drawn to do it this way. But you do have, a step-by-step there so that you can pull that sheet out. You do have all of the meridians, right, there, so you can like, okay, what am I doing now? Oh, small intestine meridian. Okay, cool. And so the idea is with a session is you want to get the energy moving. That's the Ren and the Dew, right? We're opening up to the energy. We're getting it's spinning. We've already cleared the space. And now we're going to bring the dragon fire into each of those fire meridians at least. And for those of you who know multiple, right, you've taken more elemental classes, you will have access to more energies and more meridians because you've been doing it longer. Okay. Checking the chats. Oh, cool. Okay, this is for Jess. If anyone has any issues with the breathing piece, she was talking about doing Kundalini. That's how she strengthens her breathing practices. Awesome. Okay, so any questions about anything we just went over? Okay. So what we're gonna do now is take a break so that you all can go and get some water and get some snack and walk around. It's 10:52 a.m. I hate it when it's like weird like that, but I guess it would be a 15-minute break, so that would make it 11:07. We'll just do 11:10 a.m. Central Time to make it easy. We have a little bit longer. That would be 12:10 p.m. EDT for the break. And then if anybody has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat too. All right, have fun. See you in a bit. Hey, so we're back from our break. Any questions about anything? Because now you get to go practice. And as you can see, like from the step-by-step process, it is dressed down. We're not talking about the hand positions, right? We're just working with the meridians today. You can, if you want to work with them, the hand positions, you can incorporate that stuff, but we try to keep it a little bit more simple when you're practicing in the beginning, and that is its own treatment, right? So just working with the meridian system, not even necessarily working with the hand placements that you learned in Reiki level 1, but you can incorporate if you feel called to use, if you like to set your space with all of the symbols and things, please do that. While you're doing that Reiki today, if you want to talk to the person first, if there is a pattern or something that they want to remove out of their life, you've just got the symbol. That's another way you can do it. So you can direct it that way. And then you can use that symbol. Again, with the symbols, you can do it your way, but I like to draw the symbol 1 time and say the name 3 times. So that activates it for me, but you don't even need to do that. So that's another option. So we're trying to keep it fluid enough that you can incorporate your own style, because again, this is not any of your first rodeo. You all have taken at least right through Reiki level 3, but at the same time, give you some direction so you don't feel like lost at sea. So if anybody feels lost at sea right now, let us know so that we can kind of help tighten it up and give you a little bit more direction. And that's okay, because everyone is just a little bit different. So does everyone feel pretty solid? Like you're like, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
What are we supposed to say 3 times? Is it the symbol or like what we want to heal?
So if you want to use the symbol today, which I do suggest using the fire dragon symbol, what you can do is at the beginning of your session, because we're going to do breakout rooms in a moment between everyone, is ask if there's a pattern that the person, or there's something, some obstacle that they want to put in that symbol. And then you can use the symbol. The way I activate the symbol personally, I draw it 1 time in the air, and then I say the name 3 times. So I would draw the fire dragon symbol that you guys got last week, and I would say fire dragon, fire dragon, fire dragon. And then that activates it, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's
I
what I'm
just wanted
saying.
to make sure that I was like,
Yeah, no, and this is a great time to ask any of those questions. And if you start these sessions and you come out and you have questions, that's okay too. I expect there to be some kind of questions after it as well. Oh no, Amy says I had gotten a red itchy rash from lung 5 to LI11 after class. Yeah, I cleared all that lung heat, lung and large intestine heat. Oh yeah, those are, yeah, especially LI11. I hope it's gone now, Amy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm just seeing how many people we have here. So we have an odd number, it looks like. Keep Laura out of, okay, so if I keep Laura out of the break room, then we have an even number. So you are gonna do one-on-one. We're gonna do about 20 minutes each. So 20 minutes of going in and working with the meridians, right? Bringing dragon fire in, doing a Reiki session for each of you with 5 minutes in between, kind of a thing. And then we'll pull you out of the breakout rooms. So, and then you can ask questions, you can share, then we'll go over the rest of the class, which won't be much. And then you're done. Like you've done the thing. I know. It's like, yeah. So how many breakout rooms do we need? So just, looks like 5. So just bear with me while I have to include, I'm gonna have to assign it manually so that I can keep Laura out of the groups. So 1 second.
If it's easier, Erin, I can leave,
No,
go
I
do
got
my
it.
activation and come back, and that way you don't have to do anything manually.
Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's totally up to you.
No.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go down the line here. So basically it's alphabetical. So Alex and Amy are gonna be in room 1. Alex will receive first and Amy will gift. And then room 2 will be Celine and Dee Dee. Celine will receive Reiki first and then she'll gift to Dee Dee. Room 3 is going to be Jenna and Jess. So Jenna will receive Reiki first, and Jess will give, right? And then you're going to switch, of course. Room 4 will be Joe and Lainey. So Joe, you're going to receive Reiki first. Lainey, you're going to gift, right? And then you'll switch. And then room 5, last but not least, is going to be Stephen and Tamara. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to have so much fun. Tamara. So Stephen, you'll be receiving Reiki first, and then Tamara, you'll be gifting, and then you'll switch. I mean, you're all going to have fun, but I have a little more experience with Stephen and Tamara specifically, so I know that energy is going to be, oh my God. Okay, so don't mind me, guys. So it's 11:16 now. Again, you're going to have about 20 minutes each. I'll send a message as well, so you kind of have an idea like, oh, okay, I'm getting to the end of it. You don't have to use up the entirety of the time, but I do really recommend you do that. When you get into the breakout rooms, what most people do is you'll just say hi really quickly. You each already know who's going first. It just makes it easier. Then once you're ready, I recommend turning off your video and muting yourself so that you both, the person receiving can focus on receiving, the person gifting can gift the Reiki. Then after 20 minutes, turn on your video, unmute yourselves, check in for a hot second. If you want to do a quick share, totally do that, and then switch, right? Turn the video off, mute yourselves, then the person who was gifting now gets to receive, and vice versa, right? Then at the end of 20 minutes, come back in. And by that time, I'll probably be saying like, okay, we're gonna come out. If you have any extra time or excess time, please feel free to chat back and forth and share. And then we'll come out of the breakout rooms and share at that point. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Okay. All right. So now you should all be invited to your breakout rooms.
Hello, everybody. My daughter's trying to come in the room right now as Erin's trying to hand hers off. So how did it go? Does anybody want to share about anything that happened during the Reiki sessions? Any like magical moments or questions or anything that came up? Just open the floor.
I would like something to share. I worked with Didi, and I asked Dragon if they can search the mind phrase when you believe that you're not good enough or something like that. To search this sentence, and they deep into it, and it brings me so here is it, and then he eat it. So okay, so we can release it also. So okay, he eat it.
I love how you're like, ta-da, and then you ate it. That's amazing. And that like working with this sign, this new beautiful symbol that's exactly how it's been for me. I have literally been in like the Burning Ring of Fire, you know that song? I can't remember who it's by, like the Burning Ring of Fire. So like I'm
Johnny Cash, right?
Thank you. Like that song plays in my head and there's this giant like ring of fire and I just keep on like throwing shit into the fire and it's that symbol and it's like and it's gone and it's gone and the dragons are like that's all it's literally that simple. It's like but we overthink everything. They're like just they ate it. It's gone. So I love that so much. That's beautiful. Thank you. Who else would like to share?
I had to go grab it. So here.
Thank you.
For anyone who wants to listen to it.
That's been the song on repeat for the week every single time I use the symbol. So, yeah,
and I want to say too, like, so you see what Carrie did there, right? She took sort of, okay, this flat 2D symbol, and then she let her imagination change it to a ring of fire, and then the song came out, right? So I encourage you all to let that process happen if it happens for you, so you can connect in your own way. Go ahead, Dee Dee. I see you raise your hand.
I just wanted to sort of answer what Celine had said. I totally felt that when the dragon ate the I didn't know it was the thought process, but it was in my mind's eye, it went from like total black space to a huge flash of red. and then all of these purples and like just, and then I swear I saw dragon face in, you know, in that color. And yeah, so I totally felt that, Celine. I just thought it was amazing that you put it that way because I didn't quite know what was happening, but I felt it for sure. So that was fantastic.
Ooh, no, I love that. And that's amazing. And again, it's just that's how magic this is. It really is that fast. We don't have to overthink it. And we do. Like our human selves are gonna be like, well, what blah, 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 blah. But really it is that simple and it works that fast and it's magic. So I love that you felt it, Dee Dee, and I love that you witnessed that, Celine.
Yeah, I was just going to type it, but it's faster. That's one of my favorite things about this particular type of medicine and the fusion of Japanese energy work and traditional Chinese medicine and then dragon medicine and technology. It's really freaking fast, especially if you let it be. So it's really awesome. Super exciting. Anybody else want to share? Go ahead, Samara. Did you guys have fun? I was like, oh yeah, it's fair. It's you. It probably had
It was so fun. Like the minute we connected, I'm like, stream. I'm like, all right, bro, hang on. I just got to write. So it was funny in this session, I actually used my dragon's breath. And then I'm on fire. Like I can't believe how hot I was. So it was interesting. Just the you know the way I work. So the way I work was coming through. So I didn't even use the symbol. I used my breath and was burning through. I had to put him through some. I had to stimulate his imagination network for certain things to facilitate through his session. But in Stephen's session for me was interesting. Some of the things that we got to this point where he said he was in my jaw at some point and he like heard a cackling. Like his work is his work, right? And it was so funny because we were talking, I'm like, think about phenomenological experiences when people go to church and they have these moments and they start tearing. Well, cackling is an extreme of release, anger, frustration, and fear. So I just wanted to validate what he, found. It's like, yeah, that, you're choking down, you're not saying what you need to say, all this freaking pain, so there's these extremes that you can sense and feel. His session was very powerful. I could feel all through the heart, all through the wingspan, but it was fun. I got to use my dragon's breath and that shit's potent, girl. It was amazing. Stephen,
Yeah,
you were awesome.
We didn't spend a ton of time on the dragon's breath, but it is like when you activate, it's like, did you actually do the breathing piece of it, or how did you activate it? Just for everyone else, I'm like,
so for me, like everything that doesn't need to be in a session is just not like I didn't need to do a symbol and do all that. It's just too much drama. It's just not necessary for me. So I literally just mentally called on my dragon's breath. And I swear to God, I'm not that imaginative, but I could feel the white, yellow, golds. Like I could just feel it. And the minute I started breathing into his energetic field, the specific channel, I also called in an acid dragon. I love that acid dragon. But just the intense, I came out, I'm like, I am on fire. I don't know if you're hot, I'm hot. But just, before the intention's fully formed, it's already there for me. I rarely use symbols anymore. Once I've adopted it and accepted it and believe it, it's just there. We use that it's just an entrainment tool. And I don't need the entrainment tool, but I do like that ring of fire when I'm doing paper. You know what like for me personally. So what I'm like really loving this dragon breath thing. So I don't know. That's where I'm at now. I love it, girl.
That's exactly what you're talking about. That's my encouragement for all of you is take what feels right, what feels good, what feels valuable, and you can always come back and pick stuff up later. Don't overwhelm yourself. And that's the thing is when you accept these into your body, like into your energy, you just embody them and something very natural happens, which is what Tamara, that's why I was curious how that came up for you. Because that's how dragon breath is for me as well. And I don't get hung up on this, this or that, or like doing it exactly a certain way. I just follow the energy and trust that. And the more that process happens, like cool stuff happens. And then it frees up our mind, doesn't it? So you can actually feel what's happening.
Have you
right? Because if you're too busy.
Yeah, have you ever had an invisible dragon show up? Like a
Oh, that's
like a
cool.
translucent? I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that.
No, I have not. I've had like silvery dragons and stuff, but I have not specifically. I've had ones that like almost look that way, but I wouldn't describe them as like fully, like I'm thinking of like the predator when he's cloaking.
Yeah.
I have not had that. I have not had one of those. So that's cool.
I've seen two manifestations with so one was like, I'm just gonna say invisible, but I knew it was, I could see the wisp in the smoke kind of, I don't know, but also like translucent, like I could see the channel with it, the organs, the entire what the fuck, I don't know.
Fucking cool. Well, Dee Dee has seen it. Carrie has seen it. Why am I not surprised? Right. So amazing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Steven, did you want to say something really fast? You good? Okay. Anyone else like to share? Any questions? Go ahead, Alex.
I can pop in. My partner and I were definitely mirroring a lot to each other. So that was really, really cool. Just a lot of heart clearing, and we were just, we were talking about like a lot of heartache, a lot of deep heartache that we've experienced, especially when it comes to like family. And we were both like feeling very called to bring in a lot of like there was a lot of giggling. We were bringing a lot of joy in. I know for my session specifically, it was like the dragons came through and they were like, aren't you tired of like crying over this shit? Like, aren't you fucking tired of it? And I'm like, yeah, like, yeah. And and I will say the beginning was really intense because I saw myself getting like speared through the heart, like from the back. And it was almost like the spear itself had like these I don't even know what to call it, but like these little like tong pieces came out, and it was like it like embedded itself and had dragged me down to the ground. So I was getting my messages on my end of like, aren't we done crying about this? Like, yeah, it definitely felt very past life. And it started, I was getting sent through this like visual, like all these memories of where I have felt so utterly like heartbroken and have had such deep heartache. And that's when they came through and they were like, are we going to be done crying about this anytime soon? Because it gets tiresome, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking exhausted. And it was just cool to see how Amy on her end, she was getting a lot of like giggling, like, and they had come through telling her that, for me to just like allow myself to experience more joy and fun. And we both had this like similar visual of like I don't drink much, but I've been having this visual since yesterday of like getting a little wine drunk and just like letting go and having a blast, whether it's by myself or with some girlfriends. Like I've been really wanting to have like a sleepover. I'm like, when did those stop? I might be in my 30s, but I deeply desire a sleepover with my sisters. So so yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool, and definitely feeling just a lot more calm. And yeah, why did those stop? I don't know, Carrie. I don't know. But it was nice. Me and Amy definitely, like I said, we were just mirroring a lot of that deep heartache when it comes to family. And we were talking about how we close ourselves off to other types of family at times. And so it was a lot of like heart opening. It felt so.
Thank you so much for that. That's beautiful. Everything you just described. And yeah, we've all, I think, been there. We're like, okay, are you done crying? And the dragons would say that. Are you done crying about it now? They just did that to me again. They're like, okay, are you done now? Like, are we done here? Like, do it if you need to, but like now we can like go, actually get to work and shift it. So that's really beautiful. And it sounds really powerful. So thank you. If anyone else wants to share, you can pop it in the chat, or, you know, after this, you know, feel free to reach out to Carrie or I or both of us, or share on the Facebook group, because we'd love to hear. And of course, if you have any questions, you still have access to us. It's one of the things we really want to do is build community. So it's not just like you come in and then you're dropped, right? We do have, I'll share my screen really fast here. We'll talk about the Reiki membership, and then we also have a Reiki share that's every month. So the professional Reiki membership, this is a newer thing. It's available at any level of 5e-DFR. Okay, so it does not matter what level you are, you can be a part of it. If you become a professional member, you get 50% off your first year. So it's normally $111 per year, the whole year, not like monthly or anything. So it's $55.50, like 555, right? If you sign up this month in June, the link with that built in, that coupon code, will go out with your replay if you're interested. And some of you are already in this, so this is just going to be redundant. But what you get as a professional member, you get listing on the 5-Element Dragonfly Reiki website as a practitioner. You get a professional logo, so a member logo that you can use online, you know, on your print material or in your print material. So you get that, and then you get free access to the Reiki shares that are held on the last Thursday of the month and the Facebook group. You're all a part of that Facebook group already. So the Reiki share, you all get free access to this month because you took this class. Okay, so anyway, you're gonna get that, and I highly encourage it. It's usually at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. So the next one is on June 27th. The Zoom link and everything is in the event section of the Facebook group. So they're really like ridiculously powerful. Like, I am still so shocked, even though at this point you would think I was used to it. The amount that happens in such a short, concise amount of time. The whole thing total is like an hour. But we usually do groups of 3 or so. And so that combination with the dragons and all the things, it's just really potent. So I highly recommend coming. It's super fun, and it's a great way to practice what you just learned. So again, that's next week. You can cement in what you have learned. So that's 3 weeks in a row that you are helping your body, your spirit, your energy get online to that. So Reiki shares, it's just a gathering of practitioners. Okay, so we do it on Zoom. I used to do them years ago in person. I'll probably do it in person again at some point. But what's great about this is it does not matter where you are in the world. You can come for it. They're not recorded, so there's not like replays or anything like that. When you come live, you get to be in the energy. And so it's not unlike the breakout rooms you just did. I put everyone in a breakout room. It's usually groups of 3, so 1 person's receiving and 2 people are gifting, right? And then everyone gets a session. So that I just wanted to get through. Your certificates will come. Usually they come today or tomorrow. You'll get emailed those. You'll get the replay email as well with both days. You'll get the link for 50% off the Reiki membership if that's something you want to do. You don't have to do it. You can always do it on another time, especially, you know, if you're not sure about it and you take another class, you'll get the 50% off link whenever you take the class. So there's not pressure around it. However, it is really nice way to give yourself a little boost, and then you can come to all the shares for free. You don't even have to think about it. So there's that. Does anybody have any last minute questions? Any last minute shares? We have 3 minutes. I got through that. Bam, really fast.
I totally forgot to mention that I was using the dragon breath as well. And this is something I've used in my practice just naturally, just connecting with the dragons over the years. But yeah, today it was just, it's just been so good connecting with the fire dragon at the same time of connecting with like fire season and everything. And yeah, it just so naturally just, you know, just I do a lot of that like breath work and kind of like I feel like Kali Ma tends to come through me. Like at times she definitely wants to do the whole like, you know, like bringing the tongue out and everything. But yeah, I just wanted to, and I was like focusing a little bit on that whole like molten lava versus like the slow burn of like the coals when you're nourishing. When I was bringing some nourishment into Amy, Amy, I'm so sorry. I think I totally forgot to mention this, that once I was done dredging the area, when I was coming in for the nourishing aspect, I saw her like nourishing her own little inner flame. And so it was just like this beautiful, like stoking the embers. And it was, yeah, it was really, really pretty.
God, thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. Yeah, the dragon's breath I find is really intuitive. Like you don't have to think about it. I think you just have that. And you know, the way that I was led to dragons was through Kali Ma, so I'm not surprised that she comes through. I remember asking her, I'm like, I'm so done. I'm so done with this. Please, Kali Ma, like specifically whatever needs to happen, please bring it through, right? And I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks later, that's when I met my mentor who introduced me to dragon medicine. So I love that. I love everything about that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so happy. Oh, the next class is level 5, and that is in August 12th and yes, August 12th and 19th. So that's the Earth Dragon. You get installation of your dragon tail, which is incredible. It grounds you like you've never been grounded before. It's really beautiful. And so just let Carrie and I know a bunch of you are already signed up for it, but if you're not.
What's the date there?
It is August 12th and 19th from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Central Time. So Mondays, 2 different weeks. I have all my humans in here now. All my Carrie's not.
Yes. So anyway, let us know if you want to sign up for that class. If you have not signed up for already, we're very excited, and hopefully we'll see you all on the Reiki Share next Thursday. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for trusting us, and have fun with this, play with this, let it be easy, let it be fun, and reach out if you have any questions or any concerns or anything. We love you. Thank you.
you.
Bye.